Vicious, precious. My shrink tells me I'm a nut job, that I'm too crazy to play.
Hey, welcome back to my channel. I know my audio on this channel is really fucking low. Part of me was like, I'm gonna talk into a microphone from now on, and I might still, but then the other part of me is like, I quite like it being like low. So it's like me just chatting to you like a normal human, like a mate, because this is just a place where I'm using to get out my emotions about my mental health, and it's just like a fucking bonus that anyone's actually listening. I really appreciate you guys who have watched my videos so far, and that, you know, the ones who have messaged me saying that it actually fucking helps, which is unbelievable, because who knew talking about your own stuff could help other people, right? Today we're going to be discussing depression. So having bipolar disorder, my depression is super bad, but I don't want to sort of talk about bipolar right now. I just want to specifically talk about depression. So anyone who has like clinical depression will understand with my kind of depression as well, because my depression on the bad side of bipolar is really bad, and I had depression long before I had bipolar disorder, so I want to talk about it as a separate thing. Depression is like no joke. It's glamorized sometimes by artists, by the internet, by media, by Insta folk as this like beautifully painful thing. And I do like to find beauty in pain, but it is not beautiful to have. The thing about depression is that you get nothing done. You can't move. You know, you don't shower or bathe for a week. You don't brush your teeth. You don't brush your hair. You don't change your clothes. You smell. You live in your own filth. You look on the outside how you feel on the inside, like a piece of shit. You know, you put off all the things you've got to do. You actively miss appointments. You don't go into work. You get fired. You don't do all the things you're meant to do. You don't call people back. You hurt yourself. You do self-destructive things like either overeating or not eating at all, oversleeping or not sleeping at all, crying all fucking day. I'm speaking from my personal experiences right now. I mostly do the sleeping all day and night, eating myself to death, crying all fucking day and night, often over nothing, if not mostly over nothing. Nothing, of course, meaning basically that nothing necessarily triggers the tears. I'm just crying all fucking day because I need to, because I want to, because it's just there, because I just feel so grief stricken. And I always use those terms when I'm depressed. I feel so grief stricken. I feel like there's been a death. I physically feel so full of fucking grief. That's the only way I can describe it. It's just so fatal. Everything is just fatal. I can't see anything past this moment of just sitting here in fucking tears, going back to sleep. You know, you do get suicidal. Even though I have a fear of death, you do get suicidal. It's a weird thing to think both things at the same time. You watch the same fucking programs over and over again, even though you sit at home doing nothing because you're so depressed, and you have like shit tons of shit on your list of things on Netflix and Amazon you want to watch or whatever. You watch the same mindless thing that you've seen 100 times over and over again because you're just like a zombie. You're not even focusing on the screen. You're just like mind-numbingly going through the same motions over and over again. You can't see anything in your future because there is no future. There's just this blackness in that moment. And because of my bipolar, I know that my cycles will go really depressed and then somewhat stable and then, you know, up again. I know that I eventually will get up again. In those depressive moments, you don't know which one is the last one that will just take you, you know. It just feels endless. in that, because that moment is all there is. There is no fucking future. You know, logically, you'll snap out of it one day, and my brain will just actually snap out of it one day. It's not necessarily a slow cycle. I'll just wake up like, this is the day I'm fine again. But when you're in it, you can't see that day, because that day just fucking catches you out of nowhere. So up until that day, you can't see the end of feeling this low. You think the worst things about yourself. You think everyone else hates you. You hate yourself. How everything's shit. And I actively think about stuff that I know will hurt me, just to feel worse, just to torture myself. I'll think about the state of the planet and what we're doing to it, and what we do to animals, and what we're doing to the earth, and that we're probably just going to blow ourselves up one day and there will just be no humans and that will deserve it. And I'll just sit there and think about like the nothingness and what's going to happen after I die. And I get obsessed with like daydreaming about really negative things, like my funeral. Like I've daydreamed about my funeral so many times and actively participated in the daydream, you know, constructing what's going to happen, what will people say, how will people be, what will people wear, who will speak for me, what will they play. I've watched that funeral so many times in my head, and because I've got this like obsession with death in the last few years, the depression is even worse, because the thoughts of death are even more so. And I've always just been obsessed with thinking about my death, but it's gotten really bad the last few years. Guess who's come to say hi again and ruin another video or make it better, of course. Hello, Maisie. I have been blessed. Depression is like I shut myself away in a room. I don't talk to anyone, not even the people I live with at the time, or whoever I live with at the time. I just shut myself away and just go completely numb and cry and sleep and watch those programs over and over again and not think about anything and be like a zombie. Eat shit tons of shit, knowing that I'm going to hate myself for it, knowing that I started a diet or I was being healthy, and then all of a sudden that I'm just ruining it, and I'm actively doing it, actively not caring, and yet caring so much at the same time. Because that's the thing about depression. I care about nothing and yet about fucking everything, and that's the problem. Because I feel things more than the average person. I know I do. I've witnessed so many people in my life. I've been friends with so many people and know so many people and seen how they respond to certain things, and I know that I am in the high end of reactions in an emotional way. Most people kind of feel like, oh, that's a bit sad, and then it will ruin my fucking day. I just feel things so deeply, and it's a blessing and a curse. But little things like films, I'm the worst, because films really fuck me up. If something sad happens, I'll just weep for fucking hours, and I'll think about it for hours, and I feel it in my heart. And I'll say to my partner or anyone I'm watching video with, I'll be like, I feel my heart hurting, and it does. I can feel my heart hurting, breaking, like weakening when I see certain things. I feel that feeling in my heart all the time about so many things. For me, everything is the worst case scenario right now, because that's just where my brain goes to. I can't help it. Like, I can't help the way my brain works. That's why I've got a chemical imbalance. That's why I've got bipolar disorder diagnosed, because my brain doesn't, I think, respond in a healthy amount of emotion for things. Even with anger, I get very, very angry about things that people might be a bit miffed about, but I will get like rageful, where inside I'm just boiling with my blood, you know. And the same thing with happiness. I feel happiness much stronger than the average person, which is an amazing thing, and that's why it's a blessing and a curse. But mostly I'm just fucking sad, and I'm really goddamn sad, you know. When I used to live with my dad when I was like 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, like the sort of early adult life, I was depressed most of the time, and I used to lock myself away in my room for like 2 weeks at a time and only come out to go to the toilet and get some food and then go back, and I was just alone all the time locking myself away, actively not talking to anybody, watching those same mindless programs that come out just to buy £15 worth of junk food from the shop, come back, eat it all, hate myself, go back to sleep, go back to sad, go back to crying, go back to not thinking about anything and yet thinking about everything at the same time, and just be in that room for fucking weeks, literally. And then I was never sure whether it was worse or better that no one ever came to check on me. Probably a bit of both, because I wanted to be left alone, but then no one's ever come and checked on me, so maybe that's why I want to be alone, because no one's ever done that. I'm used to dealing with stuff all on my own, so maybe I don't even want to, maybe I just have to, or that's all I know. At the moment in life, I'm somewhere between depressed and okay. A couple of weeks ago, I was really depressed. I couldn't have even made this video then. I shut myself away in my spare bedroom and locked myself the fuck away. Now that I've got some plans of stuff I want to do, I'm a little bit more functional, which has made me a little bit better, because I know that I'm being useful to myself and I've got like purpose, but definitely not quite there yet. It's a really lonely place to be. I've always been lonely my whole life. I've always been alone, and I've always been lonely. And even though as an adult I've got so many amazing friends and fans and people there, and now I'm not like alone physically, I still feel very alone and very lonely. And if it wasn't for music and things like this, getting it out, talking about it, writing something, being creative, being useful to myself, I'd just be back to what I used to do, waste my life. Because that's what it feels like when you're depressed. It's wasting existence, especially for someone like me who doesn't want to die. It's so self-destructive to lock myself away and not be productive and not be successful that day, and just like ruin my healthy eating plans and succumb to the depression. But that's all I feel like I can do in them moments, because it's overwhelming. Literally, sadness just creeps up and just covers me completely. Big weighted blanket that I can't get off. Please feel free to talk about your depression in the comments. All depression is valid, so if you just have bouts here and there, or it's mild depression, or you've had it once or twice in your life, or like me, it's like really overwhelming and constant, all depression is valid. And I hate that anyone's had any depression, because it's one of the worst things ever. It's probably the second worst thing behind anxiety that I think a human being can have. My depression is so bad that, you know, I just don't function. I'm basically a dead person that just is alive. And I never judge anyone that chooses to take their own life, because I've been at the darkest point where I thought I wanted to do that too. But even though I understand the need to do that, and the want to do that in that moment, you have reason to stick around, and there is reason to stick around. Life is so fucking shit, but it's also got the potential to be really beautiful, and you don't know when you might get better and then miss all the stuff that life has to offer you in a positive way at that moment when you are better. And we're all going to die anyway, so maybe stick it out and see if it gets better, and actively try and make it better in little ways. You know, like I say, I know what it feels like to be completely debilitated, where you can't do anything when you're depressed, but sometimes I try and force myself to do like one thing a day that's going to be better for me. Sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it does, and on those days where it does, I feel a little bit better. You know, the placebo effect. If you think you're getting better, you might. So try and stick it out. Maybe if not for you, for those who love you, because everyone's got someone who loves them, even if it's their animal. If you know someone who's depressed, reach out to them. Please, for fuck's sake, don't wait for them to reach out for you. I hate pet peeve hate when people like put statuses and posts and well-meaning and well-intentioned posts that say, if you're feeling depressed, reach out, I'm here. No one who's depressed, well, I can't speak for everyone, but most people when they're depressed don't want to fucking reach out. We can't even lift our head off the pillow. We can't reach out. It's not that we don't want to, it's that we can't. And we want people to come to us. And it could have made all the difference. It could have shortened some depressive spells if someone checked on me and was like, Is there anything I can fucking do for you? Are you okay? You know, is there anything I can fucking do for you? Sometimes just someone reaching out and asking you that is the thing that helps you. You know, so don't wait for people to come to you. That's some bullshit. They might not, and they might give up and leave this life because no one cared enough about them to go and check on them. As I say, please leave any comments if you want to discuss your depression. I do read all the comments. Sometimes I'm late in responding. I'm really bad at social media the last couple of years, but I try to get to them all eventually. I'm always interested in what people have to say, but I'm just one person, and I've got, you know, so many pages and stuff as people comments that I can't always get to it straight away, but I'm not ignoring anybody. And yeah, with that, as long as there's whiskey, cats and music, I'm fucking there. See you later. Bye.